Music seems like a banger. Close the stream right now. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear what I'm about to say about this game. I recommend closing the stream right now. Let me just start by ranting about that title, okay? Re::flex. This is just in a broad category of titles. Okay, it sounds like an anime. That's so true. And actually, I believe the developer is Japanese. So maybe there's some kind of like ESL slash like Japanese culture like sensibility to like how they use English words, and there's like it's like a great title for them. And you know what? I'm not gonna say that this is a bad title objectively. I am gonna say for me, this fits into a broad category of titles that I find very, honestly, I find it cringe. It's like kind of crass and like stupid. Like just like bad wordplay titles in general, right? Like I just reviewed Knight's Try. Blueprints, you know, blueprints. At least like both of the meanings really make sense in that game, and like maybe the game is all about wordplay. I haven't played it yet, need to play it. So maybe that's fine, but you know, it's a very common pattern. So this fits into that. I guess it's supposed to be reflex. I don't know. You're responding to a flex. I don't even understand. When I first was thinking about this title, I like had an idea in my head, and now I can't even remember what it was that seemed to make sense for me somewhat when I first thought about it. Anyway, horrible title. Okay, so the reason I played this game is because on Twitter I was talking about rhythm games, and how I feel like there is potential for rhythm games to be dynamic, right? To like have randomization, you know, basically like proc gen, procedurally generated levels in rhythm games where it's actually like changing the music as well, and like, you know, maybe fitting small bits of music together in interesting ways, or like changing the tempo and things like that. And someone recommended Planet Quest, which I really liked, which is a pretty old iOS game that somehow I had never heard about before, and was like pretty much exactly what I was asking for. And that was great. But someone also recommended this, and if whoever recommended this is watching right now, I just want to say I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I understand why you would recommend that based on what I was saying. It makes sense based on what I was saying, and like when I looked at it on the Steam store, I was like, oh yeah, this looks like a nice, you know, interesting little like rhythm game. Seems like maybe it has something like unique and interesting gameplay wise. Looks relatively comfy, you know. So okay, so first of all, I actually tried this game before, and I don't have footage from then because it was like a month or two ago or something. Like I bought the game and installed it and tried it. It was like less than $1, so I didn't even bother refunding it when it didn't work. But I booted it up, and like, even though this is like a completely single player game, it has to connect you to their server, and the server was down the first time I tried to play this game, and so I just couldn't play the game, which is completely insane on so many levels. But yeah, if the title did not set my expectations well enough, I should have let that set my expectations, but I didn't. So I tried it again because earlier this week I was kind of sick and not feeling like playing a good game. I don't really mean that. I was kind of sick, and I was, you know, wanting something chill. That's all. The whole game is like that. The whole game is like that login thing. Like the level select UI and the settings screen UI, and like everything is horrible. Like it's so confusing. Like the tutorial text is really confusing and misleading. There's like gacha mechanics. Let me see if I can find it. There's like gacha mechanics in this game for some reason. Maybe that's why they need me to log into their server. But yeah, you know, it's why is this in this game, man? This is like a chill, like indie, you know, rhythm game. What? Why is there a mailbox also? Like, there's just so much about this. This is horrible. That's horrible. So yeah, the whole game is this kind of slop that I could have guessed based on the logging into the servers from the very beginning. But also, I guess a more like fundamental issue, or like a deeper, a bigger issue. This is a rhythm game with like 2 songs, and both of those songs suck. It's like, I mean, okay, it's a matter of taste, obviously, but like, I did not particularly like the songs, and whether you like them or not, they're going to get very old. They're going to get very, very old by like the 30-minute mark, and like there seem to be a lot more levels. Okay, I only played this game for like 1 hour, by the way, but there seem to be a lot more levels, but like the level select, the level select in this game is like, you're looking at all of these options, but they're all just the same 2 songs, and I hate both of them. So it's like I'm looking at this big buffet where like every option is either like gray slop or brown slop. Like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? And there's also this blue guy. Okay, so you notice the blue guy on the screen. I'm controlling the red ship or whatever, arrow. But the blue guy is like moving on a set path that's like set in the level design. You're supposed to stay as close to him as possible, and the way that it slightly incentivizes that, it doesn't want to like heavily punish you for not staying close to him, but it slightly incentivizes it by slowing the tempo down as you stay closer to him. And I don't know if you can hear, I don't know if you can hear it in this. You probably can't, because I have it turned down to spare you from the slop. But there's like a clipping effect that happens because the music is being slowed down from its natural tempo. This is my assumption. I could be wrong about what's causing this, but regardless, there is an annoying clipping. Oh, are they actually Korean? Okay, that's my bad. They're Korean, not Japanese. But yeah, there's an annoying clipping sound that I'm pretty sure happens because it's like having to change the speed, the playback speed of the music, and they did not implement that on a technical level well enough. So yeah, if the music wasn't annoying enough already, it gets more annoying based on this slight tempo change based on how close you are to the blue guy. And by the way, this is just start the review over. I'm not gonna start the review over. Based on the guy being Korean, not Japanese. This is, man, this is all like so off the cuff. Like the whole point of this format, by the way, is so that I don't stress over like every detail, and like people can come into the YouTube comments or whatever and be like, tell me I was completely wrong about this and that. I don't care. Like, dude, I played this game for 1 hour. Like, I'm trying to give off the vibe here that like this is a serious review, but like also I'm not gonna like stress over like playing, you know, studying a game that clearly sucks for like 50 hours to do a perfect review of it, right? Like I'm just trying to make some interesting content out of the games that I'm already playing, right? And already like developing thoughts naturally on. Anyway, so this mechanic where the speed slows down, everything slows down and speeds up based on how close or far away you are from the blue guy. It's funny because I just got done in my 2025 Game of the Year post. For the real ones out there who read that, you'll know what I'm talking about. I just got done praising Hyperdemon PvP, which is one of my favorite games of last year, for specifically praising it for this one mechanic where time speeds up, the flow of time changes dramatically based on like how close you are to this other guy, which in this case is like your opponent in a PvP match, which I think was just amazing in that game. So I guess the moral of the story is just like mechanics are not good in a vacuum, which I guess we all know this. This has been a point of in the discourse on Twitter probably many times. But yeah, in this game it's awful. It's like it's too weak of an effect to really change how you play or like change how you have to think about the game in any way like it does in Hyperdemon. And I mean, you know, it makes the audio really annoying. I don't know, there's probably other problems with it, but definitely those two. It's a struggle to find a single angle to look at this game. A single angle from which this game does not look like a complete train wreck. The best angle, right, is just the visuals, right? Like I was saying, it does look good on a Steam page. Like it's, you know, unfortunately we live in a world where like people don't know how to judge gameplay really in general, but people especially don't know how to judge gameplay based on just looking at it, just looking at a trailer or whatever. They kind of have to play it for a while, and then maybe understand. Whereas like just looking smooth and like yeah, just giving off comfy vibes, like that moves copies. That's just how it works. But if I want good visuals, like games struggle to compete on just a visual level for me. If the main appeal of your game is visuals, you're going to struggle to get me interested, because if I want good visuals, I'm going to a movie theater or I'm going to an art museum. I like that's just not what video games are good at, and there's a long history of people doing amazing things with visuals in those other medium, in those other forms. Yeah, exactly. And like, so there's all these other things that video games can do uniquely well, and you should really lean into one of those things. But like, yeah, I mean, certainly if you're going to have gameplay, like this game has gameplay, if you're going to have gameplay that's prominently featured and a major thing that you are thinking about constantly as the player, like, you have to design it gameplay first, and then, you know, based on what you come up with gameplay wise, you can design visuals that make sense and fit that gameplay, and like make it look as good as possible while still not conflicting with the gameplay, right? Although there are plenty of games that I like that are more so like visual games, like Kentucky Route Zero, that's like a visuals and story and presentation-y kind of game, and I love that game, but it is like an exception. Like, I think that game holds up against the best, like, you know, writing and visuals and stuff in other art forms, right? And so that's why it's an exception. Anyway, yeah, like, this is why I was talking on Twitter. If you follow me on my personal Twitter, like, this is why I was talking the other day about, like, the apple, you know, seeing the apple, right? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how much can you see the apple in your head? And like asking the question, which I think is an interesting question, like, are apple seers worse game designers? Right? Because they're naturally coming up with visual ideas. And, you know, I asked it on Twitter, I asked it in a more like provocative way, but my real take is more nuanced. My real take is like, you know, if you can see the apple, you maybe have more, you know, that's like an additional trap that you can fall into. And so maybe for like a mediocre designer, it's easier to design something good if you are a Fantasiac or whatever. But I think, you know, and ideally for the ideal designer, I don't actually think it's better to not be able to like have visual images in your head or whatever. For a game like this, when you start with visuals, which is what I feel like they really did here, it really seems to me that the design was way too informed by like a visual idea of what this game was going to look like. The gameplay was derived from that rather than the other way around. And when you do that, you just get gameplay that doesn't make sense. At least in this case, it really does not make sense. So, and I don't mean it doesn't make sense like I don't understand how it works. I mean, it doesn't make sense like it does not, you know, gameplay is supposed to do something to the human brain, right? And this does not do a coherent thing to the human brain. It's like a mess. It makes a mess in your brain, and not in a good way. If you can find a way to make that seem like a good thing, that's not what I'm talking about. It just does not work, man. So like let me explain what I mean. Like, so they say on the Steam page that this game is supposed, I don't remember the exact wording, but like the general vibe from the Steam store descriptions is like, oh, it's supposed to be all smooth and elegant, and it's like a dance, you know, it's wording like that, right? And like you get the vibe that they were going for very clearly from the Steam page, and visually that's exactly what they did, right? Like I think they did a good job within the budget that they were working in and all of that to make that vision. But so that that vision is like directly contradictory to what a rhythm game is. If you think about what a rhythm game is, or at least like a normal rhythm game, right? Like maybe you can imagine some crazy experimental avant-garde rhythm game that's different, but like a normal rhythm game, it's about precise timing. It's like, it's about pressing buttons within a small timing window, right? And doing that over and over again. That's like, that's fundamentally the type of game that it is. And that naturally, when you're thinking so much about precise timings, at least for me, maybe for someone who's less experienced with this type of game, like obviously I've spent a billion hours speedrunning, so like I might have a slightly different perspective than most people, but I suspect it's the same for most people and they just don't realize it quite as clearly or maybe don't feel it quite as strongly. But for me, precision-based games that are heavily about pressing buttons at the right time, they have a very sharp and like crisp feel to them. Like it's like the opposite of elegant and smooth and dance-like. It's like a game that's about precise timing it's highlighting what that does in your head is it naturally highlights the distinctions between every, you know, every different moment, every like timing, almost every frame, right? Like it's a discretizing effect on time, right? It's like, you see what I'm saying? It's like the opposite of smooth. It makes everything feel very sharp and quick and discreet. And yeah, and like hard edged. And also just the way that you actually move when you play a rhythm game is like it's quick, and like you want to move, you don't move your finger quickly you don't move your finger smoothly and elegantly to press the buttons in a rhythm game. You're like, you know, you're pressing them fast. Like you want as much control as possible over the timing, so you're naturally going to like press it fast to remove the like delay of your finger moving as a relevant factor here. So yeah, and that's for any game with precise inputs, right? Like that's not even rhythm games specifically, that's just any game with precise inputs. But for a rhythm game, I think it's actually worse for rhythm games specifically. Like you might think that a rhythm game is more dance-like because, you know, it just makes sense. You dance to music, and you know, a normal dance is rhythm based. But I think when it's all about this kind of precision, this kind of when you have that baseline of the precise input thing that I was just talking about, and then you add the rhythm to it and you make it rhythmic, it just makes it feel more like mechanical, right? Like you just feel like you're a robot doing the mechanical inputs. It just doesn't feel graceful, and it just does not feel like the thing that they were going for, right? And you know, I think this even extends to like DDR, right? Like Dance Revolution has dance in the title, not once but twice. But it doesn't feel like a dance. It doesn't feel like a dance really. Like, or at least it feels like a very particular type of dance that's not the type of dance that they described in the on the Steam store page, right? It's like a very mechanical kind of dance. It's not smooth. So yeah, maybe there's a way to make a rhythm game that's like that feels the way that they wanted this game to feel. Like, you know, if you're, you know, gently tilting the control stick and like, you know, doing everything very slowly and smoothly like that or something. I don't know. I'm skeptical because like I think when you're going for precise inputs, there's kind of a stressful like, yeah, I'm skeptical of how it would work, but you can imagine a better attempt at this vibe in a rhythm game than what they did here. But yeah, that's not what they did here. This is let me describe what they did do here. Okay, so the way that you control this game, you have this ship, and you know, they didn't want it to like move immediately, like move your mouse cursor all over the screen immediately, because that would feel like jerky, right? Which is kind of opposite what they were going for. But so they made it like weirdly momentum based, you know, for this kind of game. It's like weirdly, you know, slow acceleration and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, you can imagine how that in theory, I mean certainly it makes it look more smooth, but it doesn't really. Okay, well, so let me explain another thing. So the main thing you're doing to interact with this, the main challenge in this game is being inside the circles at the right times, right? The circles are going to expand and then they're going to pop on the beat, and you want to be in all of the circles when they pop. And if you think about this, it actually, it's this design is self-sabotaging in a really interesting way, because normally in a rhythm game you feel the beat in your hands automatically by just pressing the buttons on the beat. But here you actually want to move between circles between the beats, right? Like if if circle 1 is closing at this time and circle 2 is closing however many frames later, you want to pick the exact halfway point between those two timings, and that is the time you actually want to move. And so you're feeling what you're feeling in your body when you are moving, you're moving the mouse to steer this guy or whatever. What you're feeling is like conflicting with the beat of the music, and so it just feels wrong. So that's one problem. The feeling is conflicting with the actual beat of the music, and so that makes it feel less smooth and elegant by itself. But yeah, even aside from that, it doesn't feel good to control, like this momentum kind of stuff. That the way that they tuned the physics of the movement, like to make it feel like you're kind of underwater or something, it just still feels jerky. Like it makes it look smoother, but when you're controlling it, like you still have to be able to move very fast, and so they had to tune it so you can move very fast. And yeah, it just still feels jerky. It just feels jerky with an annoying delay. Even aside from all of that, I think that the basic like game design of what you're thinking about and what you're looking at and how you're trying to process everything, like I think it's dysfunctional on that level. I think it's like how am I supposed to okay, this is basically an attention splitting game, okay? And I love attention splitting games. I love like Spy Party or like Nerds or Daniel Lenson's typing challenge that was on my Game of the Year post recently. Like, you have to type, and you also have to like pay attention and dodge the bullets, and you have to like do those at the same time. Like, splitting your brain between. I'm trying to think of a more mainstream example. I should have written down an example in my notes, but I mean, I guess a more normal example would just be like a more mainstream example would just be like StarCraft, right? Like any game that like gives you too many different things to pay attention to, and you're trying to manage, I mean, it's about, these types of games are about like learning patterns so that like, oh, I don't need to totally focus on this all the time. I can like focus on it when this happens, or I can focus on it, every once in a while or whatever. And you learn to manage your attention in really interesting ways, and it stretches your brain in a really interesting way to play these kinds of games, right? And I like that. But it does not make sense here at all. I guess it kind of does work on that level if you really like wanted to try to get good at that, but it just can't compete with the other games in that kind of genre, if you want to call that a genre, right? Like it in no way, there's nothing about this game that makes me want to play it in that way, like approach it in that way and play it seriously compared to like Spy Party or any of these other games that I just mentioned. So it doesn't work in that way. And as far as like what they were actually going for in this game, again, they're going for this like smooth, comfy vibe, and like it's just directly contradictory to that. Like, how am I supposed to feel like I'm doing the smooth, elegant dance when like playing this game optimally involves tracking like 4 different completely disconnected things? Like, obviously the main thing is the main like visual field that you're moving in, like the circles and the bullets that come at you and all of this stuff. But then there's this track, or you want to call it a chart, whatever you'd call it, at the bottom, that has the beats, and it shows you what's coming on every beat, and it's way easier to anticipate the different mix-ups that show up. So first of all, you see them a lot sooner, I think, when you watch the track at the bottom. You see that one of the bullets is coming, and when a bullet comes in this game, you have to like dash at the right time. In addition to like everything else you're doing, you have to dash. So you can see that they're coming earlier, I'm pretty sure, if you watch the track at the bottom. But it's really hard to do that while watching the circles and everything, and watching where you're supposed to be going. And then also you want to be looking at the blue guy, because sometimes he just randomly zips. That was a perfect timing. He randomly zips off in some direction, and you have to like know immediately which direction to follow him. And you're also, there's like pop-up text that happens that like adds an extra layer of distraction on top of all of that. Like, it's crazy. Like, playing this game optimally is like really, really hard to like get your brain to like to wrangle your brain into whatever arrangement allows you to pay attention to all that stuff at the same time. Yeah, so it just doesn't work. You can't have simultaneously a comfy, chill, relaxing game and a brain-breaking, attention-splitting challenge. It does not work. It literally doesn't work. Like, attention splitting games are, as much as I like them, they're inherently like stressful and overwhelming. Like the point of those games is you can't keep up with everything. That's something that feels bad to humans, right? When too many things are happening and you can't keep up and you can't manage it. But that's what you need to get better at those kind of games, and it's an interesting activity when you can handle it. But you boot this game. You don't boot up this game when you want to stress yourself out and give yourself something you can't handle and break your brain. You boot up this game when you want to chill out, and that's just not what they made. It's just not what they made. But the reason that they ended up with this, presumably, is because they wanted the visuals to be a specific way. They wanted the bullets to look a specific way and all of this stuff. They wanted the blue guy to behave a specific way. And then, like, instead of changing that stuff, they stuck to their specific, like, original vision for what the game would actually look like visually. But then they, like, changed the gameplay, which is the exact opposite of what I'm saying that you should do. Yeah, they probably noticed that it was too hard with the visuals that they made. It was too hard to do it. It was too hard to, like, play well just looking at the main visual field, so they added all these other cues. But in reality, that's just like distracting, and it gives you too many different things to try to look at. And yeah, the blue guy, I assume the blue guy was added just because they wanted to make it feel like you were dancing with someone, right? Like you're dancing with a different entity, and that's what the blue guy is your dance partner. But, like, I don't know. I'm speculating too much about what they were trying to do. Probably, like, the fact is, it just doesn't work for me. Whatever they were trying to do, it doesn't work for me. But I do find it interesting. I did stick with the game long enough to unlock the randomizer mode, which is the reason that the guy was recommending this game to me on Twitter in the first place, whoever it was who recommended it, who's now very sad. No, he probably didn't think it's the greatest game ever or anything. He just thought it was relevant. Anyway, I unlocked the randomizer mode. The randomizer mode isn't even good. It's not like Planet Quest, where, like, things are actually dynamic based on, like, the music doesn't actually change. Even the timings, I'm pretty sure, don't actually change. It's just like you're going different directions. So that's not really very impactful. Like, that's making it so that you can't memorize which direction to go, which I guess is good. But, like, the whole idea that I was asking about is, like, is there a way to, like, actually maintain a challenge that is about rhythm, right? Like, challenging you to hit a specific rhythm that you haven't seen before, or, like, switch from this rhythm to this rhythm, or do this rhythm overlapping with this rhythm, like, stuff that's actually a rhythm-focused challenge in the gameplay. Like, can you make that a replayable kind of thing, rather than something that you just experience the first time you play through a level, and then once you've seen it, you kind of just memorize the level. So anyway, yeah, this doesn't seem to do that at all. So yeah, this is disappointing on even on the level that I originally wanted to play this game for. It's very disappointing. So yeah, really thought this game was bad. In just about every way. Also, why does this say, like, it says miss on the screen right now? I thought it said whiffed. Sometimes it says whiffed. Let me figure out what that is. So right now it says slip, and then it says groovy. So it's like, this is upgrading as you get more score throughout the level, right? By the end of the level, you want a groovy, and I guess a slip is like a pass. But yes, it starts out as whiffed. It starts out as whiffed, and then it goes to miss, and then it goes to slip, and then it goes to groovy. Why would you design your game so that it says miss and whiffed on the screen all the time in a rhythm game, especially a rhythm game that doesn't give you other signals of how well you're doing and when you actually miss or whiff a specific thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it constantly makes you think, like, until you realize what it's doing, that this is like a ranking or whatever, or it's like a rank that you're building up to. It's like your score rating. Until you realize that, you just look up at the top of the screen all the time and you think you're just, like, missing stuff. You think you're just constantly missing stuff because it always says miss or whiff. Like, what are you doing, man? And, like, yeah, it's really not that clear when you do miss stuff either. Like, I just missed a circle, and all it did is the circle, as it's fading out, turns, like, black. Like, I just missed that. Like, I'm missing all of these. Like, certain things, like, turn your whole screen a different color briefly. I don't know. Not good, man. Not good. But yeah, that's the review. I decided I'm not going to give the ratings. You can find the ratings on Glitchwave, on my Glitchwave, if you really want to know what number out of 10 I would reduce this entire hour-long rant to if I had to. I think the review should speak for itself without putting a number on it. Now I'm tempted to say it though. Now that I'm talking about the number. Let me see if there were any questions in the chat. Do I think it's worth $9.99? Is it $9.99? Is that how expensive it is right now? I just gave you all of the value that there is to get out of this game, okay? Like, I just condensed what is hilariously bad about this game into a 30-minute review or whatever. It's currently $9.99. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I paid $1 for it on Christmas sale. Fortunately. And I got $1 of value out of it by using it for content, so there's that.